Baweep Granaweep Nidibong! Happy New Year! I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and were able to take some time to rest and recharge. The plans I had got a little bit shaken up, but that meant I got to spend a long time just relaxing with my partner, eating, playing video games and watching movies, with a run at the gym thrown in every day or two just to compensate for all the junk food I was eating. And all the Yuja beer I was drinking too. That stuff is delicious. I kind of know where my head is at this year. I'm in the somewhat stable position of knowing that, for better or worse, nothing will really change for me in 2026. Though beyond that is looking... I can't even guess at long term at the moment, which means I can throw everything into making this year as awesome as I can with the hand I've been dealt. I finally got internet at my house, and I've got some guests worked out for upcoming episodes, though they're a little further out, so you might have some more solo episodes coming your way before then. I'm going to try some new things out for the show too, since it's a new year. It feels as good a time as any to try and do that, so I'm planning to be a little bit more active in reaching out to other people who might have fun joining me for an episode, or maybe more, who knows. I hope even by this early on, this episode, you can tell that I've had some time to learn some new things when it comes to audio editing. It sounds better to me, so I hope all of you agree. I learned how to make it so that now I don't need to manually edit out every time I breathe, which prior to now I had been doing, like literally going through the entire audio of every episode and chopping out each one of my inhalations. This will save me a lot of time, which I'm using now to write notes instead, and it also means that the audio should be cleaner without any buzzing when I get a bit louder, no popping or crunchiness with certain sounds, and I'm also editing the audio alongside the video now, which kind of streamlines the whole process. And I'm making sure to read a lot more slowly and to enunciate more, and I feel like I'm not stumbling over my words as much as I was before, which also saves time during the edit. If you're a YouTube person, you'll notice that I decided to fully lean into my channel being just this show and whatever other Transformers stuff I decide to make, so I changed its name from Clarion Comics to Transformers AutoBook Club, though the handle Transformers AutoBook Club was reserved by another account that I made, so I'm trying to free that up so that I can change that over, but I might have to wait some time for that. Either way though, nothing really changes for you if you're a subscriber already. And big thanks to those of you who are. Over the winter break, I just hit 90 subscribers, so the neat little milestone of 100 feels just within reach. I hope changing the name will help some new friends to make their way to us too. And while we're talking numbers, I just reached over 50 subscribers on podcast platforms too, which is a lovely surprise when I looked in to find that, so thank you so much to all of you for your support. It genuinely makes me so happy to make this show and that you're all there to enjoy this crazy ride with me. A few months back, at about 3 a.m, my good friend Daniel, who has been on the show before and will feature again in today's episode, suggested I start a Patreon for people who want to support the show. At the time, I said that, yeah, it's a good idea, but Patreon feels like something that people do when they have a bigger following and when their project is really taking off, and that it's something that I would like to eventually do, but maybe not yet. Truth be told, I'd love to start one and use any proceeds to take just even maybe 4 hours a week off from my full-time job to really work on the show, but for right now, even if I did have the money to make that happen, it's just not possible. Without going into a long diatribe about working visas and rules about residence in Japan, the long story short is that I can't make any changes at all to my employment until at the soonest around this time next year. So while I'd really love to focus more on this passion project of mine, it's just going to have to wait a while. Thinking about it over the winter break though, why don't I just start it and see? If nobody decides to use it, then nothing changes from how it already is. And if anybody does decide to use it, that's a really nice bonus, right? Any money I would hypothetically make from a Patreon could buy me more time in other ways, and I'd put it all back into the show by, for example, outsourcing some of the production chores, buying an audio mixer or model kits to build on a stream, things like that. It's still really early days for the show, but I can already think of some ideas for Patreon benefits, like early access to episodes, short bonus videos about various other Transformers stuff, shoutouts in the episodes, and maybe polls to vote on which game I play on a stream or which model I build or something. I'll have that up and running soon, so I'll update you all on that when it comes together. And speaking of streaming, I finally have internet at my house. It was a long 3 months. So I'm finally going to do my first stream of building a Transformers toy, which is going to be the Soundwave Action Edition from Blockies. I'll do that on a live stream. Streams from Twitch are savable, so that entire thing will be up on the YouTube page for the show after it's done. I'm planning to do that maybe next weekend on Sunday morning here in Japan, so that's Saturday night in the US. And then for anywhere else, sorry, you have to look it up for yourself. If you can't join me live though, it will be available for you to watch any other time after that. So if you want to see me fumble and chat my way through something that one could argue I'm too clumsy to be doing, watch out for that. But that's kind of the point, to show people like me that it can be done. Blockies are not so hard, I think. So that's how we're starting things off this year. I'm hoping things continue building and growing, and as exciting as it is thinking about the future of this little project, I'm even more excited to finally receive my books and to continue reading this bonkers saga along with you all. And with that said, let's roll into today's episode. Ba weep grana weep ninibon! Welcome back to Transformers AutoBook Club, a weekly podcast where I and a guest read, discuss, and deep dive into one issue of the Marvel Transformers comics. This week's guest will be a familiar voice if you listen to episode 2. Back again for a second appearance, it's the Detroit Destructicon, Dan! Hello, Dan. How's it going?
Hey, guys. What's going on?
So usually when I have a new guest on, I can ask them all kinds of questions about how they got into Transformers. But since we've spoken before, I thought of some new stuff to ask you.
Okay, great.
So I've been talking to everybody who's come on so far about Transformers, the animated movie, and universally everybody loves it, which is awesome. But I hadn't thought to ask most people about the soundtrack. So do you have a favorite track if you had to pick one from the soundtrack?
Dare to Be Stupid is probably like one of my favorites. Like
straight in.
like Dare to Be Stupid is one of my favorites. And then on top of that, there's The Touch. Those two are like
one.
I gotta pick one. Oh man.
Yeah, you gotta pick one. Because they're so good. If I say like just give me your favorites, everyone's gonna be like all of them because they're all awesome.
Yeah, because like I was gonna say all of them. I was gonna be a snooty guy, but like I like all of them. Oh my goodness!
No, you gotta pick one.
Man, I think this is gonna sound crazy, but I do love The Touch. Like that's like
all right, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, the Touch is really good. I listen to Dare to Be Stupid a lot, but when it comes down to like, when I need to get through something or something like, I'm doing some work or whatever, I just feel powerful and strong. It's just like, I hear this like, you got the touch, boom, 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 you got the power. I'm like, oh yeah, baby, that's it. That's the stuff.
Yeah, it's a good hype song.
It is. It's a really good hype song, and it's what's his name is Stan Bush. Yeah, Stan Bush is Stan Bush. Oh man, yeah. So like he came back and he did a thing for the Transformers, the War for Cybertron. He did a song for that.
Yes,
he did a song for that, and then on top of that, I was just like, "Hey, yo, that's pretty cool. I love it." Every time they do something for like Transformers, like animated stuff, that they just go to Stan Bush, like, "We need another hit. Like, can you do it?"
That's super cool that they got him back. That was Devastation, right? When was that?
Yeah, I think that was what was War for Cybertron, and he did and he did the one for when they crash landed on Earth or something or whatever. Like he did that one as well.
Yeah, that's Devastation. They're really nice. Like it looks like a cartoon. It's really well done.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Even like that holds up actually.
It does.
Recently found somebody took it upon themselves to remaster War for Cybertron. So now we've got a nice like upscale 4K version of that, which is really nice.
That's beautiful.
For episode 5, I had Cyback on, and he told a story about how he went to a Comic-Con in Abu Dhabi and he got to meet Frank Welker and Peter Cullen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I was asking him, he got a bunch of stuff signed. So I asked him like what was the coolest thing that's related to Transformers that he owns. How about you? Do you have any like super cool Transformers stuff?
You know what? I actually, unfortunately, I had a lot of comments back in the day, like of just all of the Dreamwave stuff. But like I moved away from America, and then I moved to Japan. And then for somehow they ended up basically being thrown away. I was really sad about it, but like that's what I owned of Transformers memorabilia. I actually used to have the original cassette tape when it first came out. I used to have it, and I just played that thing all the time. I don't have it anymore. Like I have an old Transformers shirt of this, like of the 1986 movie. I have that T-shirt.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I have that one. It's kind of like faded and everything, so I would like to get a new T-shirt.
It's vintage.
Vintage, darling. Yeah,
that makes it worth more somehow.
I would like to get another Transformers shirt, probably something with Bumblebee on it.
All right.
Because like I love B. I think B is pretty cool.
He's getting the short end of the stick so far in this series.
Yeah, he really is. I think the one thing, I know people don't like to talk about like the Michael Bay stuff and everything and different other choices.
It has its own
fans.
It
has its own fans, but the one thing I do love, and I really do love, is that like, B gets the spotlight. He's the comic relief also because like, his voice boxes are destroyed or whatever. His Megatron destroyed his voice box. So like they keep that canonical throughout the whole most of the series and stuff like that. But the Bumblebee movie was actually really fun. And then they had the Enter the Beast or whatever it was called. It was
Is it the Beast?
yeah, it was something like that. But that was actually a really fun movie as well. Those I can say those are the only two movies I would recommend watching compared to anything else that's been released.
Uh-huh.
And it's like no, like I'm not trying to like rain on anybody's parade. It's just like it's hard to tell who's fighting. It's just like like it's
Right, they do look so distinct from each other. I don't vibe with the designs in those movies either, really. I think I saw a couple of them, and that was enough for me to be like, it doesn't work for me. But I mean, as much as we're talking about us disliking them, they've managed to make so many of them. There's an audience there for that.
exactly yeah.
I think that audience is not the same audience as is there for this and for like the animated show. I
Right.
think they're separate groups, but maybe there's some crossover. I don't know.
I feel like, I think the last two movies actually did a really good job because they went back to the drawing board. They started to change things because Hasbro was like, okay, well, we need to merge these universes. And eventually that's where we're going to get to, like, because like we want to have the G.I. Joe and the Transformers like mix it up together. So that's what they're planning. Like that's what's happening. They had that last G.I. Joe movie that came out a while back, and then eventually they did the Rise of the Beast. And so we're waiting for the next installment of those movies. Those two movies, and the G.I. Joe movie was actually okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
I'm not a G.I. Joe guy. We had it in England. We called it Action Force, and that's all I know about it, really.
What?
Yeah,
Action Force.
because we don't have GI doesn't mean anything for us.
Yeah.
So they renamed it Action Force. I don't know if they changed anything else, but I didn't really see it, I don't think, when I was growing up. It might not have been that popular.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I said, I didn't hate it. It was okay. Like it was something that wasn't something I would recommend to anyone, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
bad.
That's what I was just thinking. I've never really heard anybody talk about those movies, so it seems like a risky decision to decide to merge those two.
Yeah, I would tell people to watch Bumblebee and to watch The Rise of the Beast because like The Rise of the Beast introduced Unicron.
Ooh.
And that's what they start to do. They start to introduce Unicron because Unicron basically sends these minions of his to basically find the space bridge so that he can come into our universe
Okay.
because he's stuck somewhere. So,
Huh.
and it's really interesting. And, like he does this whole thing, like the space bridge slowly opens up. Unicron sends more minions. The Beast Wars Transformers, like Optimus Primal, Cheetor, Rhinox, and then there was like the other Transformers, Optimus Prime, B, and all of them or whatever. And and Mirage, and they basically had to fight off Unicron's minions because like he was looking for the space bridge key. And they had
okay.
like yes, they have a moment where Unicron and Optimus Prime are talking, and he's like, "I can give you whatever you want, like just let me through." And Optimus is like, "I'll pass."
Yeah, no.
It's really good.
I might check that one out.
Yeah, like that one was actually a lot of fun. I think that one's probably the strongest one out of all the Transformers movies. Like that's the strongest like live action. That's the strongest live action Transformers movie that's to date, and it's really fun.
I'll give it a look.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Eventually.
Eventually. I have such a giant list of stuff I need to read and watch, and I just never get around to anything. There's so much like good stuff.
Right.
It's really hard to make a decision even of what to watch.
I'm just like I'm waiting in anticipation for Transformers, the one that we're reading now. Like I'm waiting for that one because I know I know Dan Mora's on that now, and I love Dan.
Yeah, boy, Dan Mora. Yeah, we're
I
both big
love
fans of Dan Mora.
Yeah, but I really, I don't even know the guy's name, but I'd really love his art style, like that grungy.
So it was Daniel Warren Johnson first. He was writing it and doing the art, and then Jorge Corona took over and kind of emulated the style. It looks similar.
Okay.
But if you like that style, I think you might have read it already, but not just for you, but anyone
Do
else.
a power bomb.
Do a power bomb is incredible.
Yes, I have read. Yes, that's my shit.
So good and so insane. Like it starts out bonkers, and then it just every issue, the level of bonkers and the scale of everything just goes up and up and up until the final issue where it's like just so ridiculously huge scale. It's so good. And it has a lot of the emotional stuff that he's been really good at in the Transformers series too. There's some family stuff going on in the background behind all these ridiculous wrestling matches. It's amazing.
Yeah, like that style, it really fits the Transformers really well. And like anybody that can make wrestling cool, because I love wrestling, and when I was a kid, I loved wrestling.
Me too.
I love Japanese wrestling more than anything in the world. Japanese wrestling is crazy and it's so fun. But when he takes that and he adapted that to Transformers, I was a holy moly donut shop. What is going
Wasn't it
on?
like the first issue where Optimus Prime does a suplex on Megatron? Fucking amazing.
I was just about to go back to that. I was like, yo, what? I was like,
Hello, you. If you're watching the video version, you can see that I went back to find the panel that we're talking about, and it was Starscream that Optimus Prime did a suplex on, not Megatron. Sorry about that. He loves wrestling and he loves Transformers, so like he was a really good pick to start this series, and I really hope it continues for a long time into the future. Like,
right.
I just saw a little bit ago somebody had made a video with an interview with Robert Kirkman to talk about his plans for the series, and I was like, well, I don't want to watch this because I want to read it, but I do want to know how long they're planning for this to go on for, because I want to read this forever.
This is so good. And I'm like, compare, like, I wouldn't want to compare it to Dreamwave's run, because I felt like, Dreamwave's run was like its own thing, and it finished up and tied the bow around it and it was done and it was nice. But I've never seen Optimus Prime do a suplex on somebody before.
Yeah, he's been amazing. Like consistently every issue has been amazing, but it's been a really tough thing for him to do because he's a big fan, and like it's a lot of pressure for him to be like writing one of his favorite things. And he said before in the past, like he doesn't the mental pressure of trying to keep it this consistently
That's
good
unfortunate.
was too much. And he wrote his like he did his plan for what he was gonna do, and then he's gonna pass the torch. So I think it's
Right.
yeah, it's a shame, but it's also like a really good thing. Like it would have been much worse for him to stay on it and fuck it up, or like burn out, or lose his love for it or whatever. So maybe he'll come back another day. That would be great if he comes back again in the future. But yeah, I really hope this just lasts and lasts and lasts.
Like exactly. Like Dan's amazing. So Dan Moore is like, he's really good. I love the guy. Like I really do.
Yeah.
He's done stuff with Batman, Superman. He's just done work everywhere. And I'm like, really hoping he keeps the same energy.
Yeah, it's a very different style. His is very like where Jorge Corona and Daniel Warren Johnson were quite fuzzy and like kinetic and like dynamic. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but Dan Moore is really clean. I have one more question before we get going. If you have to pick, and this is just based purely on which is cooler and which has more of your favorites, so morality aside, are you team Autobot or team Decepticon?
Why you gotta do this to me? Oh man. Why you gotta do this to me? Oh my goodness. Oh man.
I actually don't know the answer to this for myself.
I that's a hard, I can't even answer.
Okay.
The reason, like, I'm not I will not be hung at the gallows for this.
You're Switzerland. You're neutral.
Oh. Oh, this is so hard. Like, I'm going.
I should have asked you in advance.
Right, this is so difficult.
It is difficult. I think I'd have to like make myself a spreadsheet of which robots I liked and then see which one had the most to even pick. Because there are so many I like from both sides.
Right, because like I love Rodimus and people don't like him. I like Hot Rod before he came. Like, so in the Dreamwave thing, he had his like his own comic and everything. It was really cool, really fun. Like it's like there's Megatron, there's Soundwave, there's Shockwave, there's Rodimus, there's Ultra Magnus, Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, like Jetfire, the Constructicons forming Devastator. Oh my god, it's just so much.
Carry on there.
Like,
yeah, it's hard. I know it's hard.
Yeah, that's I can't. I like no. I that's a cross I cannot bear. And
all right. I'll let you stay in the middle. I know it's a hard question.
I can tell you who my favorite Decepticon is.
Okay, all right.
My favorite Decepticon is Shockwave. I do love Shockwave.
Oh, all right. Well, I picked a good issue to have you come on for then.
Yeah, like the thing is that I love Megatron, but I love Shockwave more than I love Megatron.
Me too.
Because the man is Like the guy is so diabolical. Like he just everything that he does, it's just terrifying.
Yeah, he's so cold. He's all about logic and about
Yeah,
what
he's
makes the most
so
sense.
cold and so decisive on everything, and it's scary.
Something I only really realized doing issue 5 was that he's the only Transformer I can think of that doesn't even have a face.
Right,
Everyone else has a humanoid face, but
right.
Shockwave has no humanity to his face, like at all, just a circle.
Just a circle, just like a
Hmm.
little like a what is it, a hexagon, and then it's like a little circle in his eye, like the little eye or whatever. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
guy, like the guy is literally like mentally unstable, but it's all for science. And
Yeah, I mean, he does really terrible things, but that's because he has no emotion and no morals. It's like,
right,
well, if this makes the most sense, that's what I'm gonna do. I just follow logic.
right. I just follow logic. Oh, I'd rip you to pieces. Oh, I can do that, no problem. Like torture you for 2,000 years. Like I'm like, geez, Louise, man. Like this guy is wild.
But his character is so different in the show than he is in the comic. He's so, like, mild in the show.
Like I remember him barely in the show, but like how was he in the show? Was he just like is he not like is he like some sadistic guy or is he just chill? Like
He's, so, Carly and Spike in the show, not Buster, Spike, go to Cybertron, and they, like, go through the space bridge, and they end up in the control room where he is, and then they run into this, like, crevice they find inside the computer, like, and it takes them into the computer because 'cause they're
right,
tiny, and, he has to tell Megatron, like, "Oh, yeah, they came here and I lost them," and Megatron's mad at him, so the power dynamic is different. It's not, like, at a similar level, it's more like Shockwave's kind of a bumbling idiot, and Megatron's mad at him.
okay,
Which is totally not how it is in this version of the story. I really like the back and forth between these two in the comics because they're both really trying to get leadership. And for me, I don't see how Megatron is going to get it back. I mean, I know obviously he's probably going to be the leader of the Decepticons, but it really seems like Shockwave should just be able to flatten him.
yeah, he should be. And like even like when I was reading this and I read episode 5 before that or whatever, and I'm thinking to myself like oh my god, like so I saw the references of what Dreamwave took. And like they were like, okay, we're gonna just like take this a little bit and we're just gonna expand on this. And it's just crazy. Like and I'm just like, oh wow, like they look that far back to sit up here and grab this or whatever and read it and put it into the forethought of what they were making. And I'm like, that's actually really interesting to me. There was just this crazy thing with Shockwave, and he did all this crazy stuff and all these mean, horrible things. And I'm just like, oh wow. So they pulled from some of the source material. That like it surprises me that they actually did that. Like I just thought they were just going off the cuff and just doing it off of like whatever like they thought of. And I'm like, no, like some of the stuff that like I read, like Dreamwave like basically was like, okay, we're gonna bring that to the future and like let's like implement that now.
I feel the same way about Daniel Warren Johnson's version. There's a lot of stuff that I noticed from his run, having read it first, that then coming back to read this, like the seeds of that are all here. I
Right.
feel like he came back and read all this and then, you know, expanded upon certain things and made things more clear or like spent more time with certain things. But yeah, you can really see some similarities between the two.
Exactly.
All right, so that's a pretty good segue. So Dan, are you ready to roll out?
Affirmative. Let's go.
Why were you Cookie Monster?
I don't know.
All right, let's open issue 6, The Worst of Two Evils. So the cover is a taste of what we've got coming this issue. Shockwave has a hold of Megatron and is point blank shooting him in the shoulder. And it's kind of exploding out and there's debris flying everywhere.
Yeah, like when you look at the cover, it's a lot of like dynamic stuff happening in like in the actual moment, and like you can tell Shockwave just means business. He's just like, you know what, enough with the nonsense. Like I'm just gonna put you down. Like,
Pretty much, yeah. It's trying to execution style him.
yeah,
I don't know if he missed and got the shoulder, but
but that's to blow up Megatron's cannon. Is like,
that's what he's got, man.
yeah, like he can pull a saber or he can make the mace, the energon mace or whatever, like something like that. But
I
to
hope so. That's one of my favorite things. But they haven't done it in the comic, and they don't do it often in the show. I think they only do it one time,
They
and
did
maybe
it.
it comes back much later. But
They did that at the dam when they were fighting at the dam or
on the
whatever.
dam,
Yeah,
yep,
and like
really early. I think it's in the first few episodes.
yeah, and Megatron pulls out the mace, and Optimus Prime pulls out the axe, and I'm like, yo, like,
Yeah, it's so good.
yeah,
There's a helicopter in the foreground for some like perspective and scale, and both of them are in the air. I know Shockwave can fly in gun form, though I don't know for sure about his other form, but it's kind of weird they're both hovering in the air there like that.
So it's kind of I didn't notice. Like, I thank you for pointing it out. I actually like I knew like I saw the helicopter in the air, but I just thought like maybe it was like going around them. I didn't think they were like hovering in the air, like.
Well,
But
they're
like
hovering or falling,
yeah,
one or the
falling,
other.
something like that. That's why I was just like, what's going on? Like, I just thought like, oh, okay, well, they're on the ground and they're fighting or whatever, and like the helicopter's like coming up from a different angle or how the camera's shot. But that's a very good point.
But actually, like I was just talking about, I watched those 2 episodes of the show. Megatron was flying around in that episode like it was not a problem.
Yeah,
And
like
other times he's transformed into a gun and had to be carried by somebody. So I think the rules about that is super loosey goosey.
yeah, like, and I was actually gonna mention that because um most Decepticons, and like that's the thing that the Decepticons have over the Autobots most of the time.
Right, they
Like
can fly.
they can fly, and the Autobots can't. So like that was the one up. That was the one up they had, and
Right.
like even still, like I was watching an episode. I saw Grimlock take off.
What?
Like he had boosters in his feet and he flew into the air, and I'm like, wait a minute, Grimlock can fly, and I'm like,
I think
but
it's just whatever serves the plot or like whatever they came up with at the time. I don't think there's
exactly,
much continuity checking going on.
yeah,
But I will say though, in that episode, Desertion of the Dinobots, they come up with all of the Transformers start to like have a power failure and no one can move, and they're like, "What the heck's going on?" And they figure out that there's an element on Cybertron that doesn't exist on Earth, and
mm,
they need that to kind of survive. So that's why everybody's shutting down. And then they have the brilliant idea. Well, hold on, the Dinobots were created on Earth, so they don't need that. So why don't we use them to go to Cybertron and get the element that you need? Like, I was genuinely impressed. Like, that's really clever.
right.
That makes perfect sense. So similar to the comic, as much as I lovingly rag on it when it's silly, like there are parts that are genuinely really good, and I always try to make sure to pay attention to and point those out too.
It's been so long since I watched the old cartoon, so like I actually have to go back and watch all of that stuff to get a refresher because I like everything's a little vague and I can't remember what's happening here and there, or whatever. So
A lot of it is kind of like fun, low stakes. At the end of the episode, everything's back to normal. You know, nothing really has any consequences. So it's fun. Like I watched a bunch of it while I was doing preparation work at work, where I was just like cutting out pieces of cardboard and stuff for classes and
right,
things like that. It's kind of that kind of vibe most of the time. Like I watch it on the treadmill. It's a really good way to like, I don't have to concentrate too hard, but it's entertaining enough.
right.
But yeah, there's been, well, my favorite episodes before Desertion of the Dinobots were the really crazy ones where like they went back to King Arthur's time, or there was like an alien planet that were being tricked into worshipping statues and stuff. Like there's lots of really bonkers stuff. I like that. But yeah, Desertion of the Dinobots by far my favorite of the like all of it so far. And
Good.
then what was it called? A Decepticon in King Arthur's court. That was ridiculous. I loved it because it was so bonkers.
What was the like? Okay, of course the title says like a Decepticon in King Arthur's court. Like, what was the premise behind all of that? Like,
Doesn't make any sense. They go into a cave. They're like the Autobots and the Decepticons having a fight. They go through a cave, and then that cave is just a magic cave and takes them back to King Arthur's time. But remember, Transformers is set in Oregon, and then they're just in England. It's like what? They just gone through a cave into England, and at one point, when they're about to go back, Merlin is there, and he just mentions like on the way to the cave, like, oh yeah, this is a dragon's cave. And they're like, what? We came through it. There was no dragon. And he was like, oh yeah, the dragon was away, but he's back now. And then there's a dragon. And it's like, what? It comes out of nowhere. It's just a fucking dragon just because they felt like shoving a dragon in. It's really funny. It's a great episode, but not because it's like good. It's fun though.
so there was that actually happened in one of the movies. They talk
Oh
about
yeah, they did do that. You're
yeah, they did
right.
do that in
And at
one
the
of the
time, I was like,
live
what is
action
this?
movies.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
there's no way that was an intentional reference.
I
Surely.
really hope it was because they played it up. They really played it up. They said like, you know, the Dinobots and like King Arthur and like the Dinobots and everything. They were a part of the court and like a part of King Arthur's court. And I'm like what? I was like, I'm like King. I was like, there's no way. Yeah, like now that you mention it, I was like, oh wow, like there's no way they could have did that, but it could be possible,
It actually does come from the show. That's really crazy.
right?
Ha!
He's
Now I'm curious to see that movie. But
like,
I think that's the one that everybody hates, isn't it?
like he like there's a thing of like Optimus Prime fights against Grimlock, and like like Grimlock is huge. He is like towering over Optimus Prime in like in size and weight and everything. And they yeah, and like they fight, like they scrap or whatever. And he's like, he was like, bend the knee or I take your head off. And eventually, like, he wins or whatever, but like he was a part, like him, like Slag, Swoop, and all of them, they were a part of King Arthur's court. Shockwave was in it. Like there's different lore between like the Dinobots and the Beast machines and stuff like that or whatever.
An insane deep cut reference to pick to make a movie around, though.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm gonna look that up later. I'm so curious about that. That's so weird.
he was like, "That's so deep." Like what?
Like, yeah, nobody who went to see that movie. I mean, a fraction of that number will have even an idea that the episode exists, let alone have seen it.
Yeah, no.
I really like the pink and yellow clouds a lot against those bold colors for the Decepticons again.
Yeah, they're really nice, actually.
And
Right.
yeah, always uses these lovely pastels for the backgrounds and then really bold colors for the robots. I really like the way they do that.
Right. Yeah, like it actually doesn't have a list of who did colors for this one. Actually, I was.
Yeah, it's down a little bit further.
Oh,
They
okay,
they put
okay,
the title page in random places. So sometimes it's the first page, sometimes it's a couple of pages in.
okay. Got it. Okay.
So we'll get there.
Okay.
Last time we saw that Shockwave arrived at the end of the battle between the Autobots and the Decepticons, which the Autobots were about to win when all the Decepticons succumbed to the effects of the poisoned and corrosive energy that Sparkplug tricked them with. Shockwave blasted the almost victorious Autobots and took everyone inside the Ark. Then he began to repair the Decepticons, saving Megatron for last and restraining him against the wall. His plan was to use the Autobots as spare parts for the Decepticons, and in an image straight from a horror movie, strung them all up and left them hanging upside down from the ceiling. He kept Prime's body though, and told Megatron about his plan to extract a computer program called the Matrix of Creation from it, which allows for the creation of more Transformers. Buster and Ratchet, who were absent from the battle because they were tending to Buster's father, who had a heart attack, came to check out the Ark because they were worried. They had made calls to the Ark, but they all went unanswered. Outside, they found two Decepticons, so Buster, being much smaller, snuck inside to find out what was going on. He came across the Hall of Autobot corpses and managed not to have a total mental break, which is impressive, honestly, but to compound the horror, he ran away from that and came across Prime's severed head, which was open at the back, full of wires that Shockwave was using to try to get hold of the Matrix of Creation. The head speaks to Buster and says, "Buster Witwicky, you must help me. You are the Autobots' last hope."
That panel alone by itself was like pretty wild. Like on top of the panel before that, because the panel before that, like they were all just strung up like pieces of meat. As Buster says, like the Autobots, they're just hanging there like slabs of beef, and I'm like, okay, thanks a lot, I guess. Like, but it is pretty tormenting when you actually look at it.
I was so shocked.
Right, and I'm just like that to see that in the comic back in the day. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, I think they're really pushing the like, oh, it's okay, they're robots thing. And also, like, we've had before, Prime was telling Buster and Sparkplug, like, they're not alive, but they're not
Right.
dead. Like, when they get really injured. Gears got, like, busted up. He fell down from the cliff, from the Decepticon fortress they
Right.
had. Yeah, they were like, it's okay, we can repair him, so it's okay, they're going to be fine. But it's still that image, as an adult, reading that, it's like, that's so
It is.
grisly. And I wonder how a kid would feel looking at that. I think they're probably okay. They don't see how grotesque that is. But for me, I was really, really shocked by that.
No, same. I was like it's exactly the same way. I was just like, wow, because like when you mentioned it to me, it was like something's really like something crazy is coming up, and I'm like, I want you to like get your opinion on it. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, it's something like it can't be. Like he was like, oh, it's worse than what we've ever seen him do. And I'm like, really now? Like, yeah,
For me, yeah, I feel like that's worse than the beginning of the animated
yeah,
movie. I just feel like It's such a grisly image to have them all hanging there, and they've got, like, splatters of oil on them, like,
Blood,
it's
exactly.
blood. And I think it was it Ironhide? Was the worst one that had, like, his entire legs were gone, and there were, like, wires coming out of his torso. It really was like, ooh. Right at the start of the last issue, Shockwave was watching TV to get information on Earth and its inhabitants, and came away pretty disgusted and convinced that humans were weak and stupid. But he did see a news report about a new oil extraction facility which claimed to be 50% more efficient than any other currently operating drilling operation. The report introduced its billionaire owner, GB BlackRock, and the brains behind the whole thing, a young tech wonderkind, Josie Beller. And that's where we open this time. Shockwave leaves the Ark while repairs are being completed on the damaged Decepticons and comes to this oil rig in terrifying, gigantic, floating, sentient, talking gun form to take it for himself. That's scary. Like a giant gun with a rocket coming out of its butt is talking to you.
It's pretty wild because, like, we all know that he transforms into a gun or whatever, but I'm like, is it can fly? And I was like, wait a minute, of course he can fly. He's a Decepticon. And I'm like, okay, got it. And then
Yeah, but even Megatron can't fly as a
yeah, that's
gun.
true, exactly. But he's a big gun. He's like a
He's a giant
he's a
space gun.
giant space gun with a big death ray.
Like I was saying before, he's not like this in the show, right? He's not. This is
Yeah,
terrifying. He could like blow a hole in the planet if he
if you
wanted
really
to.
wanted to.
And the shame of it is that the Autobots had to build the whole arc and go on this whole like suicide mission to clear the asteroid belt around Cybertron. Shockwave could have done that on his own
Exactly.
if he wanted to. I'm pretty
Right.
sure.
He could have just, oh, let me save Cybertron to be the hero. He was like, it's not advantageous enough for him. He's like, oh yeah, no. Like that won't
I
do.
know.
That just won't do.
Shockwave has come to the rig to take it for himself. And this is like a horror movie setup for real. Imagine being stuck out in the middle of the ocean on an oil rig, and then this very dangerous giant thing attacks, knowing that if it fires, the entire thing could explode and you'll all be killed. It's really scary. There's no escape, too. They're in the water.
Exactly.
I really like the way Budiansky and Kopperberg are using the page space now. That initial 4-issue run is over, and pages can have either one big picture or 3 big panels to let the art really tell the story and give it lots of space to breathe. They don't feel the need to cram in as much as possible anymore. So I'm really liking the new layouts.
Yeah, like the new layouts are nice. Like they are like really simple. The art's a little bit more defined and everything because like last couple of episodes issues were kind of rough.
Yeah, when we get to the credits page a bit later on, we'll see the artists changed
Okay.
from Frank Springer does the first 4, and then we get Alan Kupperberg takes over from this issue. BlackRock sees this giant gun through the window, saying it's going to take over his oil rig, and his reaction is to yell, "Build one yourself!" Then he orders the rig's defenses to be engaged. For the sake of time and making the story flow, it makes sense to keep things rolling like this, but imagine seeing something that huge and alien and thinking, "Hey, piss off, let's fire on it." Like, what is he thinking? This massive gun, and he's just shouting at it.
His reaction is to send out people in these little drones or whatever on like, these little weird helicopters, like one-man
Yeah.
helicopters. And I'm like, do you not see the size of this thing? Do you think that shooting harpoons and shooting like sending out helicopters are gonna stop this thing? I'm like, guys, come on, like really?
Yeah. It's like in every movie ever, right? Like something comes and then they try to shoot it and then it doesn't hurt it, so they just shoot it some more. Like after that stops working, we don't know what to do. Also, what's pretty weird, like you said, he sends out these helicopters, these one-man armed helicopters.
Right.
Why does an oil rig have that?
Right. Why does like it exactly like that's the question of the day. Why does a oil rig have one-man helicopters unless it's like you're in like some weird territory where like pirates are coming for you or something like that,
Right.
or like
I mean, yeah, Shockwave is attacking, so luckily they had it and they do need it in this circumstance. But like, who else were they expecting to come after this oil rig? That they have all this stuff just ready.
they were expecting America. Like
Yeah,
he said,
maybe so. Maybe they thought other oil companies might like send mercenaries or something because this
oh
rig is 50% better than anyone else. So maybe he thought he might get sabotaged or something. Who knows? But luckily he's a billionaire, so he can afford a bunch of private security and one-man armed helicopters.
right.
And they all take off and they swarm Shockwave. And while that happens, BlackRock radios Josie and tells her to ready the automated weapons. And she says the mortar cannons are already aiming themselves. So they have like mortar cannons as well as these helicopters.
which is like crazy. I like you would like it, mind you, it shouldn't have any weapons on it in the first place because anything can
It's
go
an oil rig.
exactly. Like that's what it's
That's
like.
incredibly dangerous.
Right. Oh man.
So again, we get another full page. I really like the art getting this much room and how they're using that to show scale as well.
Yeah.
All of the automated weapons and the helicopters sync up and fire on Shockwave, but the narration box says that the impact on him is like a fly swatter hitting an elephant, and he can withstand these attacks easily. This is our title and credits page 2, and this issue is the same team as the last. Bob Budiansky wrote the script, Alan Kupperberg is on art, Rick Parker is on lettering, Neil Yomtov is on coloring, Jim Owsley is the editor, and Jim Shooter is still editor-in-chief at Marvel. There's a tiny detail about this page though. The ocean in the background there is two-tone. And I really appreciated that because it could really easily have just been blue. But Nell Yomtov bothered to add some green in there, and it looks really nice.
Right.
I just appreciate little touches like that. It would have been perfectly fine just to do it all blue, but it looks really great like this.
Only thing I don't care for is like all of a sudden like the sky is just like bright white. Like is it from the
Yeah.
attacks or something? Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. But like it could have just been like, they just forgot to color or something like that, which is fine too, but
If I had to guess, I would say that because so much of that is visible, they just wanted to save on the ink.
fair enough. That's fair. Yeah.
Those black smoke clouds are really nice too. They have like these blue accents on them. They could have left those white. That would have been fine. But now Yomtov's just putting that little bit of extra effort in. I appreciate it. I like Shockwave's colors a lot here too, actually. There's purple with like darker purple bits and some blue. It looks really nice.
It's funny because like in the next page, like I hear Shockwave's voice. He's had a couple of different voices, but I usually go back to the OG one voice. It's like, oh, Megatron has returned.
His voice is so, yeah, mild. It's like such a mild-mannered kind of quiet kind of librarian type in the show. I have a different voice for him in my head. I think he's the only one so far from the show that I don't think fits him here. The show's cast are so amazing and their voices are so awesome. And there's so many of them that I like. But yeah, for Shockwave, I don't know. In my head, he just sounds different than he does in the show because of how evil he is in the comic.
He gives me Bane vibes. That's what he gives me. Like, oh yes, I have no time to trifle with you. Heed me now, or feel the wrath of Shockwave. Like that's what I hear like right now. Like he gives me the Bane vibes.
Actually, I said before, just now, I said Shockwave is evil. I don't think he's evil. I think, like I said before, I think he's just logic, all logic, but like no emotion whatsoever. So yeah, there's a bunch of corpses around. Of course, they're perfect for parts.
Right.
No emotions about that whatsoever. It just makes sense.
He's very indifferent. Like he's very like, okay, it doesn't matter. Like I'm just gonna use it, and it's like, oh, I don't care about the consequences. None of that matters because it's gonna get me to where I need to be. Like this is what I need to go get to the next step of my plan, of the next step to evolution or whatever.
From what I've seen of him, if it benefited the Decepticons to work with the Autobots, I can see Shockwave being the one to be like, yeah, okay. Like it gets us what we want, it gets them what they want.
Exactly.
It's logical, so let's do it. Whereas I think Megatron
Right.
I think Megatron also would do it, but he would have a lot harder time. And he'd probably make fucking snide comments the entire way. Next is another page with lovely big panels. Shockwave has had enough of being attacked and of the humans trying to delay his plans. And I guess the voice comes from out of the barrel of his gun form, which is what it looks like with the word balloon placement on this page.
Right.
And that's not the only thing that comes out of there, because Shockwave is pissed off. He fires his huge beam on the rig. And the narration tells us that it's made of high-energy gamma rays. Those one-man helicopters are falling out of the sky all over the place, and there's a nice light effect coming out of the beam. The whole sky is lighting up from the shot that Shockwave just fired. Shockwave fires at least twice, and equipment is exploding, and people are just jumping off the rig in panic or being thrown off by the explosions. Blackrock isn't phased, though. Actually, he seems pretty mad that all his defenses weren't enough to repel Shockwave, and he tells Josie to move on to the next phase of the counterattack. Wire-guided surface-to-air harpoons. And I wanted to know a bit more about this, right? So I looked this up. This isn't standard or like a real weapon that exists, I don't think. I mean, harpoons exist, but typically they're not fired out into the air like this. there are missiles called harpoons, which is not what we can see in the picture. So I really wonder if there was a miscommunication and the writer was referring to the missiles, but the artists thought they meant harpoons, like the traditional seafaring harpoons.
Right.
But actually, though, an oil rig having harpoons as defenses in the water does kind of make sense. So maybe they had those and they just
Right, it
had to be
does.
recalibrated to fire out of the water. I don't know. Josie says that they have a lock on the target and she launches the harpoons. And in the last panel, we can see that they are like javelin style water type harpoons, but they have wires on them. Look at Josie's face there. She looks like she's having a hard day.
She's like, you know what? I don't get paid enough for this.
She's like scowling.
I don't get paid enough for this.
And she's got like just one bead of sweat there at the top.
Right. And her mouth is all
And
like, buttoned up, like, I ain't got time for this.
even her hand, the way she's pressing that button, she's got like a sassy pose going on, pressing the
Right.
button. It says here, and I think this is the first time we've ever seen this confirmed, that Shockwave can feel pain.
Right.
It says he can feel the harpoons piercing into his armor, but the pain isn't enough to stop him. So he can feel pain, it just doesn't bother him.
Just hear me out for a second. How fast are those harpoons going? Like, because my thing is that these people were shooting him, like they were shooting him or whatever. He didn't even feel anything. It didn't bother him. But harpoons hurt.
Right.
Hurt, like, huh? I'm like,
yeah, they actually hurt him.
Right.
Bullets don't, but I guess the harpoons are sharp. Maybe the bullets are not sharp enough.
But a hollow tip is sharp too when it's coming at you at like 50 miles an hour, like 25 miles an hour or whatever, or however fast.
Yeah, he didn't say a thing when the bullets were hitting him, but 3 harpoons and he's like, ah!
It's like David versus Goliath, right? And like, he sits up there and like David's just like, I got something for you. Here's a harpoon, and just hits him right under his chin. He's like, oh my god, it hurts.
Fucker.
Like, you son of a.
The pain isn't enough to stop Shockwave, and he continues flying with the harpoons stuck into his body. And doing that rips like the harpoon placements from the rest of the rig. And it leaves him flying around with a big chunk of the oil rig connected to him by wires. So that plan kind of backfired for Josie and BlackRock there.
BlackRock.
While that's going on, the one-person armored helicopters have recovered and resume firing on him. Shockwave yells that he's warned the humans once and that there's no point in continuing their attack. And he lets off this blinding burst of light, which causes some of the helicopters to collide with each other and fall into the sea. Those things are really not doing well in this situation.
He pulled a Doctor Strange on them.
Yes. I'll defeat them with shining a light on them. Works every time for Doctor Strange.
The eye of Agamotto. Like, what?
Oh, that's what that eye is. That's what Shockwave's eye is.
Yeah.
That's the other eye of Agamotto.
It's the other eye of Agamotto, right? That's exactly what it is.
It is a Marvel comic, so who knows?
Hey, you know what? That would be
I would love that to be true.
thing. That would be crazy.
Would it though?
Oh, that would be insane. Like, Shockwave had 2 eyes, but he lost one, and it became the eye of Agamotto. So, like, the other one is just like, it's Cybertronian tech. Oh my goodness.
All this time, Doctor Strange has been using Cybertronian tech and didn't know.
Right, exactly.
That would be fucking cool. That's like 2 now. I think when I was doing episode 1 with Cy, we were saying like in the first issue, Megatron wants to take over the entire of Cybertron and turn it into a dreadnought to take over other planets in the universe. We were saying we really want a what if of that, if that happened, because that's cool. So now we got 2. We got what if Megatron took over Cybertron, and what if Shockwave's eye was the eye of Agamotto. Yeah, so these one-person helicopters are not equipped for this.
Exactly. They are failing at everything, and it's getting kind of bad.
Now that the harpoons have failed, and whatever is left of the armed defenses is down, that's finally enough to convince BlackRock that it's time to abandon the rig. Shockwave flying around causes the hunk of the rig he had dangling from his body to snap the cables it was hanging by, and fall and crash into the rig below. Somehow the falling debris inside the ship causes what it says is a chain reaction of electrical malfunctions, all of which leads to Josie, poor Josie, getting really severely shocked by her instruments. And she's like up in the air, and her hair is all standing up. And she's got the classic Marvel scream sound effect. Aye!
Aye!
Aye! It was made an appearance in your last episode. Aye!
Aye! I know, right?
To make it worse, she's even on fire a bit. Look, her chest there is on fire.
Right.
Blackwell, hearing all this through the radio, asks her what's wrong. And the next caption says 90 seconds later. So Blackwell hears all this noise. This poor young woman is being shocked for 90 full seconds.
She's dead.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it looks pretty bad for her because when Blackrock arrives to see her, she's face down on the floor with smoke coming out of her body.
If she survives, I am going to be very surprised.
I know, this really looks like it has to be a corpse.
Right.
And like, it's not funny, she's extremely badly injured, but it's the way they drew her face down on the floor like that, with her arms open, like, it looks really funny. And Blackrock says, "Oh no, Josie!" And I'll give him credit, he does at least pick her up and tell her that he's going to take her out of there. But her pose when he picks her up, she does look dead.
Yeah, she looks dead.
I was writing my notes today and I started to call him Great Big Blackrock because he has GB. And I like it so much, it's hard for me not to do it now.
Great Big Blackrock.
Great Big Blackrock.
Blackrock.
The next page is a good example of a comic taking its time to show us what's happening instead of just telling us with a wall of text, because it has 3 whole panels of Shockwave transforming. Remember, in the first few issues, we'd have one panel that was multiple Transformers changing and all the stages were shown in that one panel. This time we get to see Shockwave go from gun to halfway transformed, then to fully transformed into robot mode. Blackrock, carrying Josie, gets outside and sees this giant talking gun turn into a robot and tell him that he's going to spare anyone who is still left alive, but only so that they can return to the mainland and tell everyone that Earth is being conquered by the Decepticons starting today. At the Ark, Megatron is still restrained by the life support system, which is also repairing him, and he hears the radio signal Shockwave sends to the other Decepticons, ordering any and all of them who are functional to converge on his position. Shockwave says that the coordinates are being sent to their cerebro mapping centers, so a Decepticon brain has some kind of internal GPS type system, which makes perfect sense actually, that's really cool. Upon hearing this, Megatron realizes that Shockwave has succeeded, not only in his mission to go get more energy, which remember is being produced at 50% more than any other oil rig at this place, so that's a lot of energy. But he's also succeeding in his bid to take over the Decepticon leadership, because from his place on the wall, Megatron sees Soundwave, Rumble, and Frenzy receive the orders and immediately transform, and head to the coordinates as instructed. Megatron becomes enraged and yells, "Traitors!" And he says to himself that they'll all live to regret this day, especially Shockwave. Before seemingly passing out, we're catching up with Buster next, who has just found the disembodied head of Optimus Prime. Last issue, when he saw the Autobots hanging from the ceiling, he yelled that they were all dead, but he seems to have kind of backpedaled that a bit now. Maybe he remembered what Optimus said about Gears before, because now he says that they're all just prisoners.
Yeah.
Prime talks to him and tells him that he's the only one that can save the Autobots now. Buster asks how he could possibly help. If the bravest Autobot, Optimus Prime, was defeated, what could a human kid hope to do? Prime says that Buster must trust him. Buster says of course he trusts Optimus, but internally he's remembering his promise to his dad to say his goodbyes to the Autobots and to have nothing more to do with them. But he steels himself, knowing that if he doesn't help now, all hope is lost for the Autobots, and he asks Optimus what he needs him to do. And he does a cool guy bravery pose with his fist all clenched and his face doing all kinds of gymnastics there. His eyebrow is up and his mouth is all twisted to one side.
It looks like he's about to have a stroke. He's like, ah!
Yeah, it's a bizarre face he's putting there.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it, Optimus.
It's like the face that Joey Wheeler makes from Yu-Gi-Oh! It's like, yeah!
Yeah! But Prime's idea is insane and so dangerous. It doesn't even make a lot of sense, actually, because what he instructs Buster to do is to take 2 wires from his forehead, which remember are trying to extract stuff from his robot brain, and then attach them to his own fleshy human head.
Right, exactly. Like, that's nutty. I'm like, first of all, we're going to just do electroshock therapy to this boy. He gets zapped of his life.
Yeah, but these things are trying to take out the Matrix from Optimus's head, so
Right.
putting them on Buster's head is not going to help. But anyway, that's what he tells him to do.
Right.
So before we had Sparkplug promising to make fuel for Transformers despite knowing absolutely nothing about their biology, now Prime is suggesting a very dangerous plan, knowing nothing about human biology, so both sides are making wild decisions
Right.
in this series. Buster internally apologizes to his dad, so it seems like he's having serious reservations about what he's about to do, but he does do what Optimus tells him. And there's a second instance of someone being horrifically electrocuted, falling face first on the floor on fire, with smoke coming out of them in this issue. Within a couple of pages, we've had that happen twice.
Right. That's crazy. And I'm like, you thought this was gonna be okay? Like, Okay, good luck with that. I wish you the best.
Well, yeah, as you can see in the panel, it doesn't go well. He's like throwing his head back and he's like being zapped, and then yeah, falls, like crumples really in half, face first on the floor.
Right.
The narration box says that Buster sees brightness like the sun before everything turns black.
He hits the floor pretty damn hard, I tell you what, because that streak of like him falling down is a wrap. Like he has to have brain damage. Like
He doesn't like gently collapse.
something.
Yeah, right. He's really forehead first into the floor with no support. Yeah,
Right.
that's a big smack to the head. Outside, Ratchet is waiting and worrying about Buster, and the text box says, outside the cave entrance to Mount St. Hilary, an ambulance is parked, hidden by the brush. But there is more than meets the eye here, for this is Ratchet, Chief Medical Officer of the Autobots. He's also the sole Autobot yet to be captured by the Decepticons. This is the third issue in a row they've snuck in more than meets the eye into the dialogue somewhere. Yeah, so they put it here again. If I'm not mistaken, they started doing that every issue since issue 3. And I wonder how long the streak is going to be. So, for anyone who's counting along, that's 3 in a row so far. While Ratchet is waiting there, Shockwave flies by and into the base. I guess he sent everybody else to collect the energy, and he came back here on his own, leaving him alone in the base with Megatron. He asks Megatron if his condition is continuing to improve, and Megatron says, yes, Commander Shockwave. So it looks like he's going to keep playing along for now. Shockwave says, good. He'll need everybody who is functioning at their new base, which is actually the oil rig he just claimed for the Decepticons. So he's planning on moving everybody there, which is a really smart move. It's a defensible position. It's in water with a huge energy supply. Right. He takes the opportunity to throw in another jab at Megatron's leadership, and he says that he's achieved 2 goals that Megatron never did. And Shockwave's only been back a few days too, so that's a real big slap in Megatron's face. He says it's more logical to forget about the past and to start thinking about the future. And Megatron agrees, and Shockwave says that he's glad he sees things his way. And as he leaves, Megatron thinks to himself, all he sees is the wreckage of Shockwave's body, and that he'll see it very soon. Once Shockwave leaves the room, Megatron starts to bust out of his restraints. Buster, still face down on the floor and looking less on fire, and not smoking so much anymore, starts to wake up. And there's a big, long, bold red, oh, maybe it's a groan, but it's so emphasized it looks like he's yelling, oh! He says he doesn't know how long he was out, but that he should go outside right away and tell Ratchet everything that he's seen inside the Ark. So that's exactly what he does. Ratchet is happy to see him, and he asks if he's okay. And Buster says that he doesn't know what happened to him, but it's not important for now because Optimus is being held prisoner. And he changes his mind again about the Autobots. He tells Ratchet that they're all dead, so he's gone from dead to they're prisoners to they're dead again. And poor Buster, he looks terrible. His eyes are all bloodshot. The next page has such a cool layout. It's split into like 3 triangular sections, and in it, Megatron sneaks up behind Shockwave and tells him that he's relieved of command, and he points his cannon right at him. The blast from Megatron's cannon is so powerful that it blasts Shockwave through the Ark, through the volcanic mountain that it's embedded in, and out the other side. And it says here for miles over Oregon. That thing is seriously powerful. That's absolutely bonkers.
Yep, it sure is.
And Shockwave isn't even damaged by that at all. He's hit by the blast and like pushed through all that stuff. But other than being thrown, it doesn't look like he's actually taken any damage at all.
It looks nice. It's a really good shot. I really like that shot. Like, you know, you get like that's a lot of detail. And Megatron is not for the shit. He's like, you know what? I got something for you. The blicky.
Yeah, he's like his fusion cannon has this little white spark coming out of it, and I can hear the sound effect from Super Smash Bros.
Like game.
And then yeah, just like in Smash Brothers. Shockwave's thrown so far off the edge of the screen. Shockwave falls headfirst into a school football stadium and completely obliterates it. The entire thing is wrecked. So I really hope nobody was inside there.
Oh, they're dead. They are definitely dead.
If there was someone in there, yeah, completely flattened.
Like flattened.
One of the players says, "What the heck is that?" And another says that he doesn't know, and he hopes that they're not playing for Forest High next Saturday. They have fun. It's such a weak joke, but it says minutes pass by, so Shockwave must have been at least stunned by a fall like that onto his head. And it gives Megatron enough time to arrive at the place he landed, and he proclaims that he has come to finish what he started and finish Shockwave off. But as he's making his speech and his approach, Megatron gets blasted backwards when Shockwave hurls a bunch of debris from the stadium at him. This whole fight is really cool. And again, they're using fewer panels,
Right.
but giving more space to the art and letting the sequence flow instead of just rushing it. It's something I personally always feel like manga does, like, extremely well, and comics generally, even now, tend not to do. And there are lots of reasons for that, like pricing, how much they cost to buy, how much they cost to print. So I understand why it happens that way, but yeah, I really like it when a fight has page space and time to flow like this.
I do love that Megatron thinks he has the upper hand, of course, because like of course he attacked him, he shot him from the mountain, and it's about to get nasty.
They're both throwing hands now.
Exactly. You know Megatron hasn't he basically hasn't healed all the way. And
Yeah, the minute he could get out of that like restraint, he got straight out and started a fight.
right.
Shockwave tells Megatron that he's a fool to attack him because he has more life in his circuits than Megatron could ever crush. Even at full strength, Megatron is inferior to him. But yeah, from this point in the comic, with how strong Shockwave is, and that Starscream is always trying to betray Megatron, it's like I don't see how Megatron's going to stop a mutiny from happening. Like, those two alone could just leave or decide to take Megatron on, and they'd probably win.
Yeah, like if they both decided to join forces, but we all know that Starscream is eventually going to betray Shockwave. Like we all know it's coming. Like that's just it's in his nature. Like
I don't know. I really don't know how this is going to go because I know. I mean, I don't know. I guess it just would make sense for me in the comic if Megatron remains the leader because I can't imagine it being so different from the show. But I don't see a reason for him to win. So
but I think he's gonna make he's gonna do the whole thing of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. I think that's what's gonna happen when you get later on into the actual comics or whatever.
you think he's gonna join with the Autobots to take down Shockwave?
I think he's gonna do something to help to aid the Autobots in their escape, and then it's gonna cause for the downfall of Shockwave, which in turn brings him back up to be leader. That's what I think is gonna happen because I get that feeling. I get that feeling that that's what's gonna happen.
I guess we'll see when we get there.
Yeah. Exactly.
I don't know what Megatron could even do to make Shockwave bend the knee to him. And even if he did do that, I'd just be waiting for him to start a revolt because it's too strong. He's too strong.
Yeah.
And he's consistently to follow what's logical as opposed to Megatron's more emotional, albeit evil for the sake of it leadership, are two ways of thinking that are just always going to be opposed to each other.
Right.
I don't see Shockwave taking second seat to Megatron and being content to stay there.
Well, he's supposed to be a science officer. That's the thing.
Yeah,
but he's diabolical and he's strong as hell, and that's why I'm just eventually I'm we know that they make Devastator and they make the other I forgot the other the dinosaur, this really big dinosaur that the Decepticons have. But there are other evil, stronger Decepticons, but the main guys, Shockwave is one of them. He's busted. So yeah, I don't see how he wins this, but we'll when we get there, it's gonna be interesting to see.
I feel like the only way Megatron's gonna be able to take back leadership and keep it is if he gets Shockwave gone for good somehow, just makes him leave, or he permanently cripples him.
Take his legs.
Yeah, even that doesn't seem like it's going to be enough. If you manage to take whatever lets him fire his laser when he's a gun, possibly, if you break that, we'll see. Shockwave picks up this giant lollipop, which it took me a bit to work out was a water tower. That's not a thing in England, so I didn't know what that was.
You guys don't have water towers in England?
No.
Hell?
Yeah, I don't know how they work or what they're for. I mean, I assume they have water in them. But as Shockwave picks it up, he points out to Megatron that he isn't in top condition either. And if he's not, that's terrifying. If he's not, Shockwave is even more powerful than this. Shockwave says that Megatron must still be in a lot of pain, and it's making his reaction times much worse than usual. Shockwave says that he's superior to Megatron in every way, and that's why Megatron is about to lose, and it looks like he pretty much bops Megatron on the head with the water tower. Megatron falls over on his ass, but Shockwave goes for a second strike at his head. And as he does, Megatron punches up and into the water tower and shatters the kind of orb-shaped thing at the end of it. Next, we get a really big panel of Megatron's plan backfiring, which was probably what Shockwave was going for in the first place. The water from the tower soaks Megatron, and because his wounds are, I guess, still open, the water causes him to short-circuit and he falls over backwards. Look at that old lady down there. She's so shocked.
She looks like she's like, oh, I'm gonna report this to the police. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
my
He's like,
goodness.
come on, Karen, we gotta go. And he is just walking up to him. He's like, your own misguided action.
Yeah, I really like this part from the Shockwave. Shockwave says that Megatron's own misguided actions have, quote, opened the doorway to your doom,
Right.
which I like as a line. Shockwave has like final boss vibes.
He does. He's a wild man.
While Megatron is dazed and kneeling on the ground, Shockwave transforms into gun mode and says, now I shall close it. And he blasts Megatron so hard that he ends up in a crater that looks
The
really, really
Yamcha
deep.
pose. It's the Yamcha pose.
And Megatron's there. I was about to say, Megatron's laying there at the bottom of it. And it's exactly like the Yamcha pose.
But he isn't there for long because Shockwave means business. So
Yeah, this part is really cool. Though it doesn't quite make sense, but it's really cool. Shockwave reaches in and lifts Megatron with one hand by the shoulder, and he has him like dangling over the hole. So that doesn't make sense because of how deep that hole is. He must have like flown down there to grab him and then flown back
yeah.
out or something. But ignore that anyway because it's really cool.
Seeing Megatron beg is kind of annoying because it's like
That's how much of a force Shockwave is.
of all the things Megatron will do, like I'm like, I don't see him begging. Like he's waiting for an opportune strike, that's what he's waiting for.
Well, I really like this part because at first glance it looks like he's begging to be spared, but it's actually not what he's begging for. It took me a second read to realize that. Megatron begs to be spared, but not his life. I had to reread this. He says he wants to be spared the humiliation,
Right.
is what he's about to say. He's not asking to be left alive, he's asking Shockwave to finish him.
Oh.
Yeah. And when you realize that, the next few lines make much more sense. Shockwave yells, no, in big red letters. And he says, I could tear your head from your body and reduce your remains to molten slag, Megatron. And that's not temper from Shockwave, which is how it appeared to me at first. He's taunting him. He's toying with Megatron. He references logic once again, and he says, Megatron is more valuable to him alive than dead for now. So he throws him to the ground and he says, your demise will come at a time of my choosing, not yours. So yeah, he's really coming off like a video game boss. It's so awesome. I love this part. But yeah, that's really well written. It just took me a second time going through it to realize what exactly was being said.
He just tosses him into a house. He's just like, sit down. He's like,
yeah, that's probably that poor old lady's house.
She's like, no,
oh,
I didn't pay all my rent off. No,
my favorite armoire. Megatron thinks to himself that being spared in this fight is worse than death. The indignity is a worse punishment to Megatron, and he swears to himself to make sure that Shockwave pays. Given how strong Shockwave is, this is exciting. This is like a smart play from Shockwave too. He's making himself look good to the rest of the Decepticons by doing this.
Right.
They saw him try to restore Megatron, and he's shown that he's exceptionally patient as a leader by not just taking out the main contender to being in charge like off the bat. And then as soon as Megatron defied him at his renewed strength, so as not to have him in like a weakened state or anything, he's completely humbled him. They would be crazy not to fall in line and just stay there after this. Back at the Ark, Buster sees Shockwave carrying Megatron back inside, and Buster can't believe that Megatron could have been beaten. Ratchet says that it doesn't even matter which of those two lead the Decepticons. I guess he thinks they're both as bad as each other, but he is incorrect. He's not right about that.
Yeah, they're both birds of a feather. He is like birds of a feather, my guy. They are wild. No, thank you. Like it don't matter who leads who. They're both of them are dangerous.
Inside, Shockwave continues his smart play and shows the insensible Megatron to the rest of the Decepticons. He says, examine him closely and consider his fate. His fate is the fate shared by all those who oppose me. And Shockwave goes one step further. Once everyone has seen what a mess he made of Megatron, he asks them all to swear their allegiance to him. Megatron isn't moving or speaking, so I'm not sure if he's conscious or not, but I really hope he is, because what a galling thing to see. Without a second's pause, the entire assembled crowd of Decepticons yells, Hail Shockwave, Decepticon Commander Supreme, we function for you, and you alone. And now Megatron is definitely awake, because he also joins in the chant, though his voice is quiet and weak there. So yeah, Shockwave has taken over Decepticons like in a complete hostile takeover.
Swear to me you shall put no other before me. I'm like, this guy sounds like
Yeah.
he is power hungry. He's like, I am your god. Swear to me your allegiance, absolute and eternal.
Yeah,
Ooh-wee.
he's got some really good lines. Outside, possibly overhearing the crowd, Ratchet and Buster feel despair settling over them. And that's the end. So at least for now, Shockwave has totally taken over the Decepticons, with a fortress full of dead Autobots to use for parts, and a new base putting out a lot of energy. So we don't yet know what Buster learned from Prime, but my guess is that Prime somehow put the matrix of creation into Buster's brain. But that is a really risky move because it does now mean that Prime would be useless to the Decepticons. So if that's the case, it's a really desperate last-ditch play.
Yeah, because they're all captured by the Decepticons inside the Ark. And on top of that, it's just a matter of time before he finds it. So we know Buster is outside right now with Ratchet. And on top of that, they don't know where they don't even know they're being watched actually. Like they have come and gone Shockwave has come and gone several times and he hasn't noticed anything. He hasn't noticed that he's been
That's
being
true.
watched and I'm like, oh, okay. So that's the biggest thing too is it's like, okay, well he's too busy dealing with the riffraffs and everything, aka Megatron. So he's like, all right, well, I got to deal with this guy first, but I need to just, I'll handle the other stuff later.
Maybe that big bush, you can see in the last panel there's a bush that's hiding Ratchet. That's enough cover, apparently,
Right.
to hide a whole ambulance.
There's no fucking way. Like, that chapter was actually really nice. I like that one. And just seeing Shockwave just toy with Megatron, like Megatron has raw power, but the thing is that his intellect, he doesn't match Shockwave intellect.
No, I think,
And I love Megatron.
yeah, I love
So
Megatron too. I think he's got like
right,
a big, too much hubris. He always wants
right,
to show off. He's had a chance before to take out all of the Autobots when they teleported into the mountain. He could have just collapsed the mountain and killed them all, but he decided to try and give them a chance to escape. Like he's always doing that. He'd rather toy with them and like he'd rather toy with them than like get a quick decisive victory, which doesn't seem to like it's going to be the case for Shockwave.
and I've always wondered about that. Like that's always been that one thing of like he's had a chance to kill Optimus Prime so many times. And I'm like, why did you let him get him? Why did you let him get away? Like, you could have easily just scrapped with him, but even though it was like an episodic thing and they'll be back in the next episode and stuff like that. But I'm like, yo, like, if you kill him now, their power is cut in half because Optimus Prime is Optimus Prime. He's really strong or whatever. If you kill him and you're able to kill him, the game's halfway done, man. That doesn't make for a compelling story either. So
Well, I wonder if that will happen in the comics because they couldn't do that in the show, but they definitely could in the comics. I wouldn't be really surprised if they did do that for a time and then bring back Optimus later.
right.
Yeah, I really love that sequence of Shockwave beating the snot out of Megatron and just taking over the Decepticons completely by force. And that one sequence where Megatron was begging to be spared, but not to be spared of his life, spared the indignity of losing a fight. I thought that was really nicely done too.
Right.
Things are really heating up. The drama and the stakes have gone off the charts from issue 4 onward, which, like, I didn't think it would be like that straight out the gate. Like, they knew they had the first 4 issues, and then after that, they kind of weren't planning on from the beginning. So I wasn't expecting it to just actually get so good so quick. I thought it might stumble a bit, or they might struggle to find a way to continue the series, but they didn't. Saying that, knowing the series is going to continue, of course the Autobots are going to recover from this, but from this point, I don't know how they're going to do that. Issue 4 did mention the Dinobots,
Yeah.
so and Ratchet's still alive. He knows about those too. So maybe they'll try and bring them in to rescue the Autobots. I'm not sure if the Dinobots and Ratchet are enough to fend off Shockwave, Megatron, and the rest of the Decepticons. So that's issue 6. What did you think of it overall, Dan?
I thought 6 was great. I love 6. I think seeing the power change hands, the power dynamic change a little, I think that's really awesome. On top of that, like, like they are in dire straits right now. Like these Autobots are weak as hell. Like they are weak.
How dire things got, how fast.
I'm really hoping when I actually finish reading it or like try to get through the next couple of chapters that like we get to see Shockwave get his comeuppance, or better yet, we see the whole Decepticon echelon get their whole comeuppance. Like that's what I'm waiting for because I think we're a little overdue.
What do you mean?
Autobots have been dismembered and hung and strung up, and I'm like, oh wow, like something's gonna have to change. Like,
Oh, so you want them to have their big revenge moment?
I want that revenge to come like twice over. Like I'm ready to see that happen. It's kind of nutty seeing Megatron be a bitch. Like,
I'm into it though, because of how much they built him up, and in every other Transformers, Megatron is the big bad guy.
Right.
I really like how they brought in somebody else to be like even more scary than him.
Right. And it tracks. It definitely tracks because like he is terrible. Like Shockwave is terrifying. I would rather want to be. I would just smash me, and call it a day. Let Starscream kill me or something like that. I don't want to be trapped by Shockwave.
Yeah, he wants one thing from Optimus, and he just took his head off and then stuck wires in it. I don't know that he even spoke to Optimus about it.
He was like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I need something from you." He's like, "Oh, what's that? Your head?" I need your head, buddy. I'm gonna need
just this one little thing.
like just this one little thing. Like I can make more Decepticon, which is actually really cool because like I didn't know that was a thing. Like they're talking about the Matrix of quote unquote leadership, but like he was like, oh well, like you can get this thing from the prime.
Yeah, it's a bit weird because they call it the creation,
The creation
Matrix of creation,
the Matrix
and it's
of
a
creation,
program
yeah.
in this, so it's not a physical object like the Matrix of leadership is. I don't know if they're separate or if they're one thing,
Right?
And like it'll change form later or what, but
right. Well, and that's why I'm just like, okay, well, that's actually pretty cool. I like that. That's actually a cool idea. So I'm waiting to see what comes from that, and it's fun seeing the Decepticons win for a while, but it kind of gets boring. And so I'm like, I want to see the Autobots get their lick back. Like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I got something.
yeah, I'm sure they're gonna.
Yeah.
But I like that, within the Decepticons, there's going to be struggle. So that now the war is kind of more than two sides.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So that's the end of issue 6. So thanks for joining me once again, Dan. It's always a pleasure to have you.
No problem.
And I'm sure we'll hear from you again before the series is over.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much. All right. So that's our episode for today. Thanks once again to my guest Dan for joining me. And thank you to you as well for listening or watching or both. If you enjoyed this episode, there are a bunch of things you can do to help support the show. First and foremost, I'm always looking for guests, and you don't have to have any experience. You don't need to be an expert on Transformers. All you need to be able to do is read one issue of the comic, discuss it with me, and have some fun. It's all good vibes only, as I'm sure anyone who made it this far knows by now. If you're watching the video version, you can help it make its way to people who might like to see it by giving it a like, leaving a comment, and of course sharing it with all your friends who you might think will enjoy it too. Podcast listeners, now that I know there are 50 plus of you, if any of you have the time to leave me a review on your podcast platform of choice, that would be amazing. I don't have a single one yet, and I think those are quite important if what other podcasts say is true to help the podcast find new audience members. If for whatever reason you haven't subscribed on whichever platform it is that you listen or watch this on, doing so will be a great help too. And as I mention every week, there is a Discord too. The link to that can be found in the description, or you can use this QR code to come and talk about giant robots with us. All that's left to do now is to tell you what we'll be reading next week, and that is Marvel US issue number 7, which is called Warrior School. So I hope you'll join me for the next episode, and until I see you next time, take care, be kind, and do good. Till all are one.